Hello everybody. In this video, we're going to talk about some predictions for the upcoming August 2021 Visa Bulletin and predictions for the rest of the fiscal year, which ends in September 2021. This is based on a recent YouTube live that the State Department issued with the Chief of the Visa Control, Charlie Oppenheim. He had some good information to share, which I will provide to you here and analyze it further. So, what are you waiting for? I'll see you on the other side. Hello everybody and welcome back to our immigration channel. This is a place where you can get the most up-to-date immigration news, immigration updates, and everything else that you need to make your immigration journey less stressful. My name is Jacob Sapochnick and I'm an immigration attorney based in San Diego, California, and I help clients in all 50 states. In this video, we're going to talk about the Visa Bulletin predictions for August and the months ahead as we are coming close to the end of the fiscal year, which will end in September 2021. Lots of good information that we can share, and this is based on a live YouTube update that was released a couple of weeks ago, specifically with the Chief of the Visa Control Unit, Charlie Oppenheim, that is responsible for the Visa Bulletin every single month. He is the one that controls exactly what's going to happen, and we can learn a lot from his predictions, and most importantly, to help you plan your next steps if you are planning to immigrate to the United States. So let's start with the family-based categories, which I know is really important for a lot of people that are watching my channel. As you know, most of family-based green cards are processed through the State Department, specifically through embassies and consulates abroad. And as you know, because so many embassies and consulates are either completely closed, which resulted in a very few family-based cases that are being processed to completion. And this is going to continue until the end of the year, unfortunately. While we do see some movement in family-based petitions, it's not at the levels that we were all hoping to see at this time of the year. We're almost at middle of July of 2021. The good news is that in embassies and consulates where COVID-19 is generally under control, where most of these officers are being vaccinated, and a lot of these consulates are starting to reopen, in those areas we definitely see a better movement of processing of family visas. Now, Charlie was asked the following question: are family-based preference numbers going to continue to advance all the way through September? And this is what Charlie had to say.
Yes, the improving conditions have allowed increased overseas processing. Therefore, the July dates were advanced at an accelerated rate in most preferences and for most countries, with the movement of the dates through September might be somewhat more limited. The Mexico dates were advanced at a very fast pace for the family categories, and that it was because number use in recent months has not been as much as anticipated, but based on the previous movement of the dates. And we wanted to make sure that we maximize number use. And the Philippine family dates were basically held with the exception of the fourth preference, because there the previous movement of the final action dates had generated sufficient numbers under the annual limits. So therefore we did not need to continue moving any except, as I said, the fourth preference.
So as you can see, there has been some movement forward in some family categories. For example, as he mentioned, in Mexico, because they haven't used enough of these visa numbers in previous months, there was definitely a movement in July. But for example, the Philippines, because there was sufficient movement in previous months, we didn't see too much movement forward in this month. But overall, it will depend on how embassies and consulates will continue to process these cases. But as far as the State Department is concerned, definitely the intention is to advance visas as much as they can throughout the end of the year. The good news is that after analyzing all the data from the State Department's live stream, it's clear to report that no retrogression is expected anytime soon or in the foreseeable future. And what I mean by visa retrogression is that sometimes where there are too many visa applicants but there are not enough visas available, that's when retrogression starts. Essentially, the visa priority dates are moving backwards. This is not expected anytime soon because there are sufficient visas to all the applicants that will be ready to receive those visas, which is great news. So let's talk about some predictions for employment-based cases, specifically EB2 and EB3. Charlie Oppenheim in the live stream specifically predicted movement forward for EB2 and EB3 categories, both for India and China in the coming months. What is unclear with respect to EB2 and EB3 is how fast those numbers are going to move forward. One prediction was made is that EB3 category for India is going to move relatively slowly for the rest of the fiscal year, all through September 2021. But the good news is that after October 2021, which is when the new fiscal year starts, there's going to be a rapid movement in all categories of EB2 and EB3 for India and China and the rest of the world. So this is definitely great news to expect after September. With respect to EB5 China, which was definitely something that people were concerned about, Charlie Oppenheim does not expect any movement forward until the rest of the year, fiscal year 2021, which will end in September. Another interesting question that Charlie was asked is, why doesn't the State Department provide estimated times before visas are actually available? And this is what Charlie had to say.
In a normal processing year, I tried to provide such updates on about every 3 to 5 months, and I put them in the visa bulletins with an item regarding visa availability. And that usually covers what will happen in the next 3 to 5 months. It's very, like I said earlier, it's important for people to remember that the applicants become qualified at their own pace, and therefore it can have some fluctuations in the dates. I really haven't provided updates during the last part of fiscal 2020 or for fiscal 2021 because of the constantly changing situation or processing capability at both our overseas posts and in the USCIS offices.
As you can see, it's not always possible for the State Department to provide accurate estimates. They do release them from time to time, and they're always available at the Visa Bulletin if you read it all the way through the end. Another question that was asked is why the State Department will issue documents, will send an email requesting documents from candidates that are not yet documentally qualified. Their visas are not yet available. And what they said is that they need typically 8 months to 10 months to get people prepared to be documentally qualified. So they want to start the process early to make sure they send their documents even if the priority dates are not current. And that's why you may be getting an email from the State Department to start preparing and uploading your documents and sending them information even if your priority date is not yet current. So that is the reason why they do that, and it was nice to hear that explanation from the State Department directly. So hopefully that information was helpful. If you're here for the first time, make sure to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates or any of our live streams, and also give us a big like so YouTube will be able to share this video with more people just like you. I'm here for you. Just send me a text 619-483-4549 and request a consultation with me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.